Is the Trump administration turning into a literal cage match, or is this just the kind of high-stakes friction necessary to navigate a hostile political landscape? When you look at the men chosen to steer the American economy and its national security, you usually expect quiet diplomacy and boardroom negotiations, but what we are seeing right now is something entirely different, something much more personal. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you these deep dives into the stories the mainstream media might be downplaying. The rumors have been swirling for months. Reports emerged back in 2025 detailing a dinner party in September that allegedly devolved into a chaotic scene. According to those reports, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent didn't just disagree with Bill Pulte. The man now tapped to serve as the acting intelligence chief allegedly threatened to punch him in the face. The accusation? That Pulte was undermining him directly with President Trump. Now, this week, the topic finally hit the floor of the Senate. During a budget hearing, North Carolina Republican Senator Thom Tillis decided to stop beating around the bush. He looked straight at the Treasury Secretary and asked, point blank, "Did you actually tell Pulte you were going to punch them in the face?" Most politicians would have pivoted or offered a rehearsed no comment. But Bessent didn't play it safe. He leaned into the microphone and quipped, "No sir, I actually said I was going to kick his ass." The chamber went silent, then the murmurs started. It's an extraordinary admission to make in such a formal setting, especially considering that Bill Pulte is currently the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and is now stepping into one of the most sensitive national security roles in the entire federal government. Bessent tried to play it off as simple locker room dynamics, comparing his behavior to the history of Treasury secretaries dating all the way back to Alexander Hamilton, the guy who famously died in a duel. He argued that if teams are squabbling in the locker room, it doesn't mean they can't get out on the field and win. But for critics, this isn't just about a heated dinner conversation. It's about the temperament of those managing the nation's security. This isn't the first time Bessent has been at the center of a public spat. Earlier in 2025, reports surfaced that he got into a shouting match with Elon Musk inside the West Wing over who would lead the IRS. When you stack these incidents on top of one another, you have to ask, what is really going on behind the curtains of the current administration? The Democratic response has been swift and severe. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slammed the appointment of Pulte, calling the entire process a hastily considered backroom deal rooted in personal loyalty rather than national security expertise. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries piled on, openly questioning whether Pulte has any background in law enforcement, the military, or national security. The accusation is clear: the administration is trading competence for blind obedience. What does this mean for the country? On one hand, supporters of the president might see this as a group of alpha personalities who aren't afraid to fight for their vision. It's the America First style, aggressive, unapologetic, and disruptive. On the other hand, the reality is that these people are in charge of our intelligence, our housing markets, and our tax system. If the internal fighting is this intense, how effective can the machinery of government actually be? Are we looking at a team that keeps each other in check, or a group of individuals so caught up in their own egos that they've lost sight of the public interest? We're seeing a shift in D.C. where the standards of conduct that defined the old guard are being systematically dismantled. Whether that's a good thing or a dangerous gamble depends entirely on your perspective of how Washington should function. But one thing is for certain: the days of polite, behind-the-scenes disagreements are effectively over. So, what do you think about this? Does it bother you that top officials are engaging in locker room verbal combat? Or is this just the kind of toughness we need in the current political climate? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know where you stand. The stakes could not be higher, and the path forward is looking more chaotic by the day. Stay tuned, stay informed, and we will keep bringing you the facts as they unfold.